Greetings, people of Earth. My name is Jack, and welcome back. Oh, and here's Jules. She's not interested. Story of my life. Anyway, today, this video is all about, essentially what I'm going to be telling you in this video is keep it simple, stupid. But we are talking about making life easy. And the reason I want to talk about it is I think in our lives, we tend to complicate things so much. I know for me, like I can speak from personal experience, I make my life so unnecessarily hard and difficult just because I'm dumb. Like the number of times that I have set something up or I've organized something or I've done something in a specific way that makes no sense, that makes it twice as long, 3 times as expensive for no reason. Like just because I felt like it or I wanted it this way or I thought that this is what I wanted. And I think like so many of our wounds are self-inflicted. So many of the things in our lives that make things difficult, we have absolutely done to ourselves. There is a community online, I've talked about them before, and I don't necessarily subscribe. I wouldn't call myself like a follower of what they do, but I really admire it. And it's called the Slow Living community, Slow Living. And these people have simplified their lives. They tend to be minimalists. They tend to be pretty laid back, pretty chill, you know. They take their time, they're slow. That's the whole point. They really appreciate, a lot of them meditate, a lot of them take a lot of mindfulness, like they'll stop every so often and just think, living in the present moment, existing. And these people are frustratingly, incredibly zen. And, you know, I've tried to adopt like several of their habits and some of it's been useful. Some of it I just can't do because I keep self-sabotaging. But that's essentially the goal of life, is just to make things a little bit less stressful, a little bit less difficult, a little less anxiety inducing. And these can be really simple, like setting out your clothes before you go to sleep. Really, really simple idea, you know, just put them out. This is what I'm going to wear tomorrow. Saves you so much time in the morning. Another good one, not checking your phone often. Taking breaks from your phone to be productive, to be mindful, to hang out with your friends or family. There are so many things that you can do just by not doing that simplify life so much and make it easy. If you've watched any of my Daoism videos, you know that I am a Taoist. That is what I identify as. If you don't know, Daoism is a Chinese philosophy / religion that advocates for the idea that we cannot control the universe. We can only control how we react to the universe. And one of the main principles in Daoism is this idea of Wu Wei. Wu Wei is non-action, not doing. And essentially, it would take, you know, years for me to try and explain what Wu Wei is. You kind of have to come to your own understanding based on everything that you've seen. But very, very briefly, Wu Wei is this concept where by not doing, you don't leave anything undone. You don't leave things unfinished. By not starting stuff, you don't have to finish it. And that makes life a lot more simplistic. And when you think of it, whatever you're trying to finish will be gone in 200 years. That isn't like that's not me advocating for passivity and doing nothing, but it's being mindful of what you're setting yourself up to do. You know, setting these responsibilities or these things in our daily life or the schedule of like, oh, I've got to go here and then here. Why? Why are you doing it that way? Is there a more efficient way? Is there a way to not have to worry about it at all? These are kind of questions that you can ask that simplify life, that make it a lot easier. And they take out some of the opportunity to screw stuff up. You know, I think a lot of the time, this is the logical way of thinking of it. If most of the time, the thing in the equation that is complicating things is yourself, taking yourself out of the equation, really, really good idea. And this can be in drama with your friends or family. This can be in organizing your day around specific things you have to do. This can be trying to achieve a specific target. just take yourself out of the equation. Just say, okay, what if I just don't do this thing? Or what if I change how I do this thing? I know I'm not being very specific. And if you've just clicked on this and you've never seen a video of mine before, I'm so sorry, because this is kind of how I do things. Like, apologies. But essentially, you are the issue. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. I am the issue. And I know this. I know I'm the issue. I know 9 times out of 10, the reason something doesn't go the way I wanted it to was because I messed up, or I planned something that I wasn't capable of following through, or I wanted it to come out a specific way and it didn't. And so what does this mean? Like, what does all of this mean? This idea of like simplifying your life, or, taking yourself out of the equation. It doesn't mean that you just sit in bed and decide, well, I'm going to screw up, so might as well not do anything. Doesn't necessarily mean that. I mean, a day like that every now and then, not a bad thing. I think they call it rotting, just a rot day where you just sit in bed and just relax and just do nothing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm of the kind of character that sounds just awful to me. Like, the idea of just sitting in bed doing nothing, that makes my skin crawl. But that's just me. So what I do when I'm trying to simplify my life, or I'm trying to take myself out of the equation, is I will be getting ready for the day, and this will be the night before. So in the evening, I'm getting ready for the next day. And like I said, I will set my clothes out. I will make a conscious effort. I'm going to say, when I wake up tomorrow, I'm not going to check my phone. I have things that I would like to get done. I got to feed the dogs. I got to do this. I map out what I absolutely must do. The steps that I absolutely have to do, my deadlines, the things that are kind of out of my control. And I go, okay, I'm going to do those. One of the things that I consider out of my control is going to the gym. I'm going to the gym. I don't care. Like, that's a must. There's no exception for me anyway. However, I can choose what I do on the way to the gym, the route that I take to the gym, what I'm going to work out on at the gym, and, try and make sure that I do this in a methodical way. And another good example of taking yourself out of the equation is just pausing, just taking a moment before you leave the house to go, am I forgetting anything? Am I forgetting my headphones? Am I forgetting my wallet? Am I forgetting that thing that I have to drop off at that place with the thing? What am I forgetting? And just taking a moment to not rush, because a lot of the mistakes we make are based on rushing, based on not thinking things through. And those are the self-inflicted wounds that you can get rid of pretty easily. My grandfather was always really good at this. He would always just pause before he was leaving for anywhere. And we'd always go, oh my gosh, come on, let's go. We need to go. And he'd be like, no. And he would just pause and think. And then he would remember that he needed his coat or a bag or an umbrella or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, he was absolutely right. He knew that rushing out of the house in the morning is not the good way to go about it. And then you leave something or you forget to do something. And he would take these pauses everywhere. So if we had several errands that we had to run or something, when I was, taking him into town for something, anytime we left a place, he would pause and go, okay, let me just think about what just happened. Let me think about what I'm doing right now. Let me think what we're going to be doing in the future. And this was such a good way of just not forgetting anything or missing anything. And it's one of those things that we definitely associate with wisdom, is just being able to take that moment to go, okay, I'm good. And we do not do this enough in society. I do not do this enough. It saves so much time and struggle and effort, and it takes 30 seconds, not even 15, sometimes 10, sometimes 5 seconds, just to think, oh, shoot, I'm forgetting the dog leash. Easy, And those are really like easy, simple ways that you can remove yourself from the equation and just simplify life just that little bit. And that means a lot, that saves a lot of time, that saves a lot of struggle and effort. And I'm a big advocate that not everything you do has to be productive. Not everything you do has to be some kind of money-making side hustle or venture or, self-improvement journey. Sometimes you can just exist and be happy and enjoy what you're doing and watch something mindless, or, a big thing that I will do that, I think simplifies my life a lot is I will get onto some of these reels on Instagram with like dogs and cats and like really funny videos. And I will just scroll for maybe 30 videos and I will be on the floor laughing because they are so funny. And I'll show my dad or my brother or my mom or whoever will watch them with me. And it's one of those things that I do sort of after dinner and I really enjoy it. It's one of the best parts of my day, just laughing, enjoying this like funny video. And it is so simple and dumb and it doesn't really do anything, but it makes me happy and it makes me laugh. And I think everybody should laugh at least once a day really hard. So I do that. So I think those are ways that you simplify your life. A lot of it has to do with just taking things out, like looking at your life and going, what do I not need to do that I'm constantly doing? What am I incorporating into my life that really doesn't need to be there? And would simplifying it and removing that thing make my life better? If the answer is yes, or even a maybe, you should probably just remove it. You should probably just be like, well, maybe I don't need to vape. Maybe I don't need to do this. Maybe I don't need to do that. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, might simplify your life. Might also simplify your bank account. Who knows? Did that come off as a bit judgy? I'm really sorry if that did. That was not meant to be. But what I'm just trying to say is that there are lots of things in our lives that don't need to be there. There can be some like garbage friends or family that just don't need to be there, that are just complicating your life. You can cut them out. You can get rid of them. I mean, if you're not financially dependent on them, you can cut them out. And even if you are financially dependent on them, you can work to a point where you're no longer, and then you can cut them out. There's lots of ways to get around the problem. I was going to say skin a cat, but I don't like that metaphor. Not a fun one. Not a fan. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Simplify your life. Realize that you are the problem in so many cases in a positive way. Don't realize that you're the problem and then decide to remove the problem. I'm not advocating for that. Please don't. But yeah, just remove the complexity, the things that you're doing that you're not really sure why you're doing, or the things that you were told you have to do and were given no example. I think parents are really bad at that. They'll tell you like you have to do it a certain way, and you're kind of like, well, why? That doesn't make sense. And then they're just gonna say, just because. Anytime anyone tells you just because, maybe run away. Maybe don't listen to them, because that is not a good enough justification for doing something or not doing something. So I hope you can simplify your life in some small way. Maybe it's just removing some really toxic, YouTuber from your life. Who knows? If I never see you again, I'm so sorry. But anyway, but maybe it's getting rid of like a profile on Instagram that you follow who doesn't make you feel good, or makes you question the validity of who you are, or makes you feel like you're not good enough. Maybe it's something super easy like that. Like these don't have to be like groundbreaking, cold turkey, life-changing moments. These can be really simple, like, oh, I'm just gonna do this in the evening and wind down and not look at my phone for half an hour before I go to bed. Whatever. They don't have to be these massive shifts in life. They can be these really simplistic, easy things to do. One of the things that I'm trying to do is just leave my sunglasses in my car. I hate bringing them in because then I'll forget them, or, it's just one other thing I have to forget. And I always ride in my car. I don't take anyone else's vehicle. So I'm like, why don't I just leave them in there? That's so much easier. And it's such a little thing, but I don't have to worry about forgetting my sunglasses and then not being able to drive. So it's big. Little thing has a big impact. That's all I'm saying. So thank you for listening to me babble and rant. I hope it was helpful in some way. I really hope I didn't give you some kind of existential crisis where you're now trying to remove everything from your house and you're just going to live in a giant white cube. Apologies if that's what this did. Not my intention. Although the idea of living in a giant white cube, kind of attractive. So easy to clean, looks timeless. Maybe a nice big window. Guys, I might, sorry. Anyway, apologies. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this message finds you loving your day, week, month, year, whatever you're having. I hope it's amazing. And let me know what you think about this whole idea. If you like this kind of content, this kind of ranty, interesting, introspective, philosophical endeavor, follow me. Follow me on Patreon. Have a look at other stuff I do. But yes, again, thank you very much for being here. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.